Past papers are one of the most effective learning tools, but you've been doing them wrong. So was I. Not the doing part, the when and the how. I'm a final year med student, and about a year ago, I changed the way I used past papers. And my marks went from 50s to 70s without adding a single extra hour of study. I've never seen anyone explain this method. And once you understand it, you'll realize every revision session you've done until now has been leaving marks on the table. Here's what actually happens when you study a topic. You read through your notes, you understand it, you close the book and think, yeah, I got this. What you build is a map and it looks complete to you. Every road seems to be there, but it's not complete. There are blank spots, entire sections of the map that are missing. And here's the thing, you can't see them because when you're reading, you only ever think about the topic in the same few ways, the same angles, the same routes. The only way to fill the blank spots is to try and navigate somewhere new. That's exactly what past paper questions does. It asks you about the topic from an angle your notes never covered. And suddenly, there's a road that isn't there, a gap you never know existed. That's the real reason past papers are so powerful. Not because they prepare for your exam format, because they show you exactly where your map is broken. And they force you to fix it right then. There's a study done comparing different ways of using the same material. 3 groups of students. Group 1 studied the topic 4 times, then took a test week later. Group 2 studied 3 times, did 1 practice test, then sat the final test a week later. Group 3 studied once, did 3 practice tests, then sat the final test a week later. The results weren't close. The more practice tests a group did before the final, the better they performed. Group 3, who spent most of their time testing rather than rereading, outperformed everyone. The group that studied the least outperformed the group that studied the most. Rereading feels productive. It keeps the roads on your map looking familiar. But familiarity is not retention. Testing is. That's something called the testing effect. The cognitive principle that retrieving information forces your brain to encode it far more deeply than rereading the same material over and over will. The discomfort of not knowing the answer is what exactly makes the answer stick. Here's what most students do, and I was doing too. You revise your notes for weeks, then close to exams, you do past papers to check what you know. That's not wrong, but it's a tenth as effective as what I'm about to show you. What I do instead is this. I study a topic once. If I'm studying respiratory pharmacology, I go through all the lectures on that topic once. Then, about a week later, instead of going back through the same notes, I open a past paper on that topic. But I don't sit the paper like it's a practice exam. I take one question. I attempt it without looking at the answer. Then I check. And here's the critical part. I go back into my notes and study exactly the section that question was testing, the specific gap it exposed. Then I move to the next question and do the same thing. Every question I get wrong is a blank spot on my map, and instead of just marking it and moving on, I draw that road in immediately while the gap is in front of me. This combines 3 of the most effective learning principles that research supports. Spaced repetition, because I'm returning to the same topic after a gap, not rereading it the same day. Interleaving, because I'm working across the whole topic at once, not note by note, which trains your brain to switch between related ideas the same way an exam will. And the generation effect, the principle that trying to produce an answer before you see it encodes information at a depth that passive reading never reaches. Attempting the question, even incorrectly, is what makes the answer land. In the next revision session, a different past paper, same process. This is what took my marks from 50s to 70s. Replace your revision sessions with this method and you'll feel a difference even before a month. Not because you're studying more, because every session is filling the exact gaps that matter, instead of rereading the roads that are already there. Now you know how to find the gaps. But there's a level underneath everything we just covered that almost no study channel talks about. A neuroscientist named Dr. Andrew Huberman has been studying what exactly happens inside your brain in the hours after you study. And what he found changes when you should be doing past papers, how long your sessions should run, and what you should be doing immediately after learning to lock in what you just learned. I spent months breaking down his research and testing it inside a medical degree. Watch this video next to learn about those exact methods.